Hello everyone, welcome. This is Nick from Top Notch Sports, and today we got a lot to discuss. Let's hop right into this thing.
180. 180, set.
Hello everyone, welcome. This is Nick from Top Notch Sports. Sending over the 2023 Cincinnati Bengals salary review and offseason moves for 2023. In 2022, under quarterback Joe Burrow and head coach Zach Taylor, the Cincinnati Bengals finished with a record of 12-4, finishing first in the AFC North, making the playoffs, beating the Ravens in the first round, beating the Bills in the second round, but ultimately losing to a score of 23-20 to the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Conference Championship. Joe Burrow, man, this guy has been really good since getting drafted to the Bengals. Ever since he made his debut start with this team, he has been absolutely phenomenal. They surrounded him with weapons, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, bringing in Hayden Hurst, Joe Mixon, Samaje Perine, Tyler Boyd. They have multiple weapons. They built a little bit of a defense around him, and overall, this team's looking really good under Zach Taylor, a guy that really, I'm going to be honest, nobody really knew who Zach Taylor was when he got hired. A lot of people, a lot of outsiders, did not know who he really was. But this Cincinnati Bengals team, under Zach Taylor, under Joe Burrow, has making strides in the right direction every single season. The question will be, when will this team finally punch their ticket to the Super Bowl? But not only punch their ticket to the Super Bowl, because they just did that last year, but also win the Super Bowl, okay? When you have a quarterback, a franchise guy like Joe Burrow, you're going to want to not only get there, but win one. And not just win one, maybe win two, okay? I know it's tough. We've only seen a very few quarterbacks win two, but when you're this young, this good, and have that much talent surrounded by you, there's a good shot you can have a chance of doing this. And that's exactly what we got. If you're new to this channel, welcome back. If you're not new to this channel, welcome. Let's hop right into this thing. This is going to be a mock free agency, mock draft, mock roll-off season for the Cincinnati Bengals. Here we are. Here are our expected starters for 2023. First things first, I want to look at the top left corner of the screen. You got $48.8 million in cap space. Mamma mia. That is a lot of money. Not a single team that's in the conference championship has this much amount of money. This is really, 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 really good stuff this team has been doing. Really good stuff. In order to have that much money and be making the conference championship, you can make a ton of moves and make a run to the Super Bowl. Okay, so these are the guys that are currently under contract. Anybody that's not listed on this slide needs to be re-signed, or you're going to let them walk in free agency. Guys in green, if you cut them, you save money. Guys in red, if you cut them, you lose money. So real fast, we want to look at these guys in green, okay? Some of these guys with bigger cap hits, you might want to consider moving on from. Not that you're going to. I'm just going to mention a few guys. You let me know if you think they're worth it. First things first, you got Joe Mixon for $7.3 million. You can save $7.3. I don't think you move on from him. You'll see my predictions a little bit, though. But again, that's not a bad price for a running back. Tyler Boyd, $8.9 million. Definitely not the best wide receiver on this core, but a really good slot receiver. Been solid for years. Again, I just don't see you guys moving on, especially since you have almost $50 million in cap space. Chidobe Awuzie has a little bit of higher cap space hit. Trey Hendrickson a little bit. BJ Hill, DJ Reader, definitely somebody you got to look into. I don't know how he really did for you guys this year. We'll look to see in the few slides to know what we got you guys doing. But again, you guys know better than I do. You guys watch these guys every play, every snap, every game. I don't get to watch the Bengals like that, although I do love watching this team. And a huge fan of Sam Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson really are two really good edge rushers for this team. Last but not least, Mike Hilton's another guy that you want to look at for $4 million. But again, $4 million is not that bad, nor is $6 million. But when you start to get to $8 to $9 to $10 to $11 million, that's when you got to start really questioning, are they worth it? But again, it's not like you guys only have $20 million to spend. You have a ton of money to spend. Therefore, is it really worth cutting anybody? You got $48 million. I don't even think we're going to use $48 million in this mock free agency for you guys. So let's keep on going. Let's look at our notable losses, guys that are currently not under contract. Here are your notable losses. These are the guys that are currently not under contract for this team. Now, real fast, before we even get into anything, we want to look at this, okay? The percent of snaps played. The percent of snaps played is calculated by the percent of snaps a player plays when they're actively on the game day roster. If the player played, if the player was, let me put it this way. If the player was on the IR for 16 games this season, but played in only one game, activated for one game and played 100% of snaps. Unfortunately, it's going to say they played 100% of snaps. That's the way this is calculated. I know that's disgusting, but that's how we figure out these numbers. So with that all being mentioned, let's go to this. First things first, cornerback Trey Flowers. Expected contract is a 3-year, $34.3 million contract, played 19% of the snaps. Next guy, safety, Jesse Bates. Expected contract is a 4-year, $42.4 million deal, played 98% of snaps. Next guy, safety Von Bell. Expected contract is a 3-year, $30.3 million deal, played 99% of the snaps. Next guy, linebacker Jermaine Pratt. Expected contract, a 4-year, $29.1 million deal, plays 75% of the snaps. Next guy, tight end Hayden Hurst. Expected contract, a 1-year, $3.9 million deal, plays 60% of the snaps. And last but not least, halfback Samaj P. Ryan. Expected contract, a 1-year, $1.2 million deal. He played 40% of the snaps. A good rule of thumb is for a team that's in good cap space is you bring back the guys that play a high percent of snaps, that play well during those high percent of snaps, especially if the regime is saying the same, which it is, okay? So Zach Taylor's still here. You guys got a ton of money. If the guys played well, they're most likely going to look to bring him back if it's not going to break the bank. Now, the big thing is this. You're losing 2 safeties, but again, on the next slide, we'll show you who we're bringing back. If we bring back both, if we bring back one, if we don't bring back any. But the whole thing about these safeties are this. You got Daxton Hill, who I was a huge fan of Dax Hill coming out of, college. So, do you really need to bring back both? Who do you like rather than, who do you like more, Jesse Bates or Von Bell? These are all things I want to hear from you guys in the comment section below. One thing I do know right off the shenanigans is Jesse Bates is a little bit younger, although he's a little bit more expensive according to this. He's a little bit more younger too. So again, let's hop right into this. So we'll look at our potential targets and the moves that we make. Here are our potential targets, okay? Again, estimated cap space, $48.8 million in cap space for this upcoming offseason. So what do we got you guys doing? Well, an estimated signings. First thing we got you doing is signing back Jesse Bates. We're re-signing him to a 4-year, $42.4 million deal, which is a $10.6 million cap hit. We got you re-signing Hayden Hurst to a 1-year, $3.9 million deal, which is a $3.9 million cap hit. We got you re-signing Samaj P. Ryan to a 1-year, $1.2 million deal, which is a $1.2 million cap hit. We got you bringing in guard Isaac Salamalu, a 2-year, $24.2 million deal for a $12.1 million cap hit from the Philadelphia Eagles. And last but not least, we got bringing in linebacker Anthony Walker for a 1-year, $4.4 million deal, $4.4 million cap hit, which is $32.2 million in total cost. All that being done, you still have $16.6 million left in estimated cap space available. With that being mentioned, now you guys can go back out and make smaller signings, little tiny things. But in all reality, in my opinion, you roll that money over to next year. You're going to have to re-sign Joe Burrow eventually. You're going to have to re-sign T. Higgins next year. You're going to have to re-sign Jamar Chase eventually, et cetera, et cetera. So why are you going to waste this money? Roll it over. That money will go over next year. It gets added to next year's salary cap, so you get more money to use next year and the year after if you keep rolling money over. So again, I would definitely roll over some money. I think you made a good enough amount of moves to be competitive this next upcoming year and really contend for that Super Bowl. So now we look and see what that does for our team needs. We need a running back, tight end, offense guard, offense tackle, defense tackle, linebacker, cornerback, safety. Well, we fill in that running back need by re-signing Samaj P. Ryan. We fill in that tight end need by re-signing Hayden Hurst. We fill in that safety need by re-signing Jesse Bates. Okay, so that's 3 of our needs, all coming back by in-house candidates that we already have on the team. Now what are we going to do? Well, we're going to sign some players. We're going to go out and we're going to sign offensive guard Isaac Salamalu from the Philadelphia Eagles. And we're also going to go out and we're going to sign Anthony Walker at the linebacker position. So now that fills in Jermaine Pratt's role and that fills in our offensive guard position need. So now we got a lot of things filled in. Now what are we going to do? Well, now we're going to attack the draft. Okay, in the first, second, and third round. In the first round, we're going to draft tight end Michael Mayer, who I'm a huge, huge fan of. Fill him in, let him be that future piece between Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon, Tyler Boyd, and Michael Mayer, and Hayden Hurst right now. That's a phenomenal, phenomenal core, guys. But when you talk about the youth between Mixon only being like 26 years old, Burrow, being a pretty young quarterback, 25, 26, I believe he is. I think he came out when he was 23 or 24. So now he has to be around 25, 26. You got Jamar Chase, who's super young, T. Higgins, who's super young. And now you go out and you bring in a young tight end. This core of guys is really, these weapons are really young for Joe Burrow to use, but really talented weapons. And you're just loading him up with more and more talent. So Michael Mayer will be an awesome draft pick for this team. Then in the second round, you're going to draft Jalen Duncan, offensive tackle, to fill in your offensive tackle need. And in the third round, draft the cornerback Max Melton. So again, what does that do? Well, again, tight end, you're drafting Michael Mayer to fill in that tight end need. You go down to your offensive tackle, you're drafting Jalen Duncan to fill in your offensive tackle need, and you're down to cornerback and you're drafting Max Melton to fill in the cornerback need. Now, again, in the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round, maybe you can draft a defensive tackle to fill in your defensive tackle need. Again, it doesn't even necessarily need to be a starter. It's just that you could use a little bit of depth there too. And again, you still got $16 million. So another name that's really out there that you could possibly go out and get, which is going to be worth a lot of money. I mean, he's going to cost you a lot, would be someone like Javon Hargrave. You know, I don't think in this series we actually had him going anywhere. Maybe you go and you pay him top tier dollar. Maybe you move on from somebody that you have. If you want to move on from, one of those guys that costs you a little bit more money, or you have the money, honestly, you just go out and do it possibly. But again, you're probably gonna have to save up another $3-4 million to be able to bring in someone like Javon Hargrave, who's going to be demanding around $20 million a year. And he's older, so I just don't see Cincinnati doing it. I'd much rather do what we do and roll over that money to next year. All right, that's all that. Now let's look at our 2023 expected lineup. Here is our 2023 expected lineup. Again, at the top left corner of the screen, you see that you got $16.6 million in cap space. That's the money being rolled over to 2024 season. With all that being mentioned, you see yellow, green, blue, and orange, okay? And I know we got like 15 guys on the field here. You're not going to throw me a flag and say, you got too many guys on the field. We know that, okay? I'm showing you more guys so you can see all the moves that we made. The guys in yellow. Guy in yellow right now, you see Lael Collins. According to PFF, he didn't have a good year. I was really hesitant to make him yellow. That's what we consider a placeholder, guys that we feel like the team can replace. Lael Collins has been really good throughout his entire career. Maybe struggled a little bit last season. I don't even really know, guys. You guys would know a lot better than I would. Whether or not he struggled or not. So I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section below about him. But again, I really don't feel like they're going to be looking to upgrade over him. But again, to draft Jalen Duncan to be that future piece of this team, that I feel like is likely. I mean, again, Lael Collins, that is a guy that can play right now, but maybe Jalen Duncan, if he can come in and compete for that spot, that would be a really, really, really nice move for the Cincinnati Bengals team. Get a whole young team around Joe Burrow. I mean, again, if you got all these guys on rookie contracts, it's only going to help you guys have a better chance of winning the Super Bowl. And again, Lael Collins is 29 years old. So something to really look into, bringing in a young offensive tackle to be the future of this team. That's the only guy that we have to consider really as a placeholder right now. Besides that, you see orange. Orange are our guys that we're re-signing. We're re-signing Samaje Perine. We're re-signing Hayden Hurst. We're re-signing Jesse Bates. Okay? Those are those three guys. Now what are we going to do? Well, we're going to go out and make signings. We're going to sign Isaac Salamalu. We're going to sign Anthony Walker to play alongside Logan Wilson. And last but not least, we're going to draft. We're going to draft Max Melton in the third round. We're going to draft Jalen Duncan in the second round. We're going to draft Michael Mayer in the in the first round. And now you guys might be saying, oh, well, all these guys, you got them listed, some of them as backups. What are you doing? Well, look, here's the thing. Your guys' team on paper is really solid. I mean, again, the only thing we really got considered as a placeholder is Lael Collins, who didn't really play that well this season, according to PFF. With all that being mentioned, you really don't need to go out and, bring in a guy that's going to start right away. Jalen Duncan can learn for a year, or he could play if he beats out Lael Collins. Same thing. You bring back Hayden Hurst on a one-year deal. Michael Mayer is your future guy. You got him for another 3-4 seasons after Hayden Hurst leaves. And especially if you want to use a fifth-year option on him, you can do that too. Max Melton. Pair him up with Mike Hilton, Cam Taylor-Britt, and Chidobe Awuzie. I mean, again, you got a really good secondary. So, again, there's a lot to like on this team. Really solid offensive line. Really solid weapons around the room. Really good running backs. Good secondary now between Awuzie, Hilton, Cam Taylor-Britt, Max Melton, Jesse Bates, and Daxton Hill. Really solid room. And then a good linebacker room with Logan Wilson and Anthony Walker here, with two good edge rushers in Sam Hubbard and Trey Henderson, and B.J. Hill and DJ Reader to lock down the middle. With all that being stated, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. But here's my prediction. The Cincinnati Bengals went 12-4 in 2022 under head coach Zach Taylor and quarterback Joe Burrow. If the team was to make these moves, bring in Duncan, bring in Mayer, bring in Milton, bring back Hurst, bring back Samaje Perine, bring back Jesse Bates, bring in Anthony Walker, bring in Isaac Salamalu, shore up that offensive line, get you some more linebacker depth, bring back Jesse Bates to play alongside Daxton Hill, another young guy. I feel like this team is only going to make strides forward. Now, here's the issue. The AFC North is only getting tougher. I believe Lamar Jackson will be back with Baltimore. Kenny Pickett is going to take a step forward in year 2 with Matt Canada. Unfortunately for them, fortunately for you guys, but unfortunately for them and Mike Tomlin, he's going to take a step forward. Kenny Pickett will. And Deshaun Watson should only get better with Cleveland. With all that being mentioned, the division is going to get tougher. So to go 12-4 again is going to be tough, but to make the playoffs seems very, very likely for the Cincinnati Bengals team. I feel like in 2023, this team is going to play better, but the record's not necessarily going to get better. With that being mentioned, I feel like this team's going to go 11-5 next season if they make these moves. Win the AFC North, win every game in the AFC playoffs, make it to the Super Bowl, and to contend in the Super Bowl. So again, I got them going 11-5, winning in the AFC playoffs, making it to the Super Bowl, and who knows, maybe they finally get the Lombardi Trophy with Joe Burrow. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Till next time, we'll see you guys soon. Peace. We are Built Better.